Best on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Right, how you doing?
Good morning.
Normally we'll let Chris speak right now, but I don't think Chris can speak in anything that will go on the airways there. I was watching soccer with Chris here in the studio, and he was not too happy there. Your team didn't make it there, huh?
Nope. No, man, a few words.
And that is it, I guess. Or do you want to say anything else this morning? Oh, that was a good shot.
That was a nice shot. We're watching repeats here, Chris.
Right there in the corner. Little Manchester United gets beat on an easy free kick.
See, that was fine. You're watching Manchester City, which is my team.
Oh, Manchester City, okay.
Different teams.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought that I just meant they're all Manchester. So, you got anything else other than that, or are you just irritated now? You want me to just move on?
I was going to talk about how good the season is and how I get to see my favorite sports, but now I know that my soccer team is going to disappoint me. Notre Dame is going to disappoint me today, and the Red Sox are going out in the first round.
Yeah, but hey, USA won the America's Cup, right? Did you see that?
The Gold Cup? Oh, no, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I didn't catch it.
If there's only one American on the American team, is it truly the American team?
Is that right? Well, it's owned by an American somebody, billionaire.
Yeah.
I quit watching. I thought for sure they were going to lose and they come back and win, so that was pretty sweet. So congratulations to the one American. Maybe there was the one they literally was one picture of a guy in the Wall Street Journal holding a bottle of wine. That must have been the only American.
The only American
team. Everybody else is like, we're out of here. And they were all wearing the Red Bull hats, which isn't American either. So, how are you doing? We got this is our last 2-hour show as we go back to 1 hour for the football season, and probably we'll stay at 1 hour going throughout the year as other things are picking up, and it's just tougher and tougher for us to hang out. It kills half a day, but we'll do 2 hours today, and actually the second hour today we're actually going to replay one of my favorite interviews, which was from Brian Weed of Tesla. Was in here a couple of years ago, and talked about what it's like to be a big time rock and roller, traveling the world, and playing up against with AC/DC. And so
very cool.
If you haven't heard that,
they're playing soon here, aren't they? Up in Tahoe?
I think they played last night or tonight at the casino out there.
Oh, okay.
So that may have been last night, but if not, it's tonight, one of the two. So, but they play semi-regularly out there, so it's easy to catch them because they live in town.
Local boys, yeah.
Local boys. So hang in for hour 2 if you want to do that. I think I'm not seeing anything on our text line. Our text line is all blank there, so we'll try that at 441140 if you want to text us today. 1-800-920-1140, or you can call us 339-1140. If you ever thought about being in the real estate industry as a realtor, hang around for the second half of this show today at the 9:30 hour. A couple guys are going to give us a call in. They're going to start doing, Brent Gove and some of his team are going to start doing some training seminars to how to become a realtor and get involved, and they're going to do it. I think they're going to do like a once-a-week training thing, and it really, I think it's incredibly important if you want to be in that industry. Well, any industry really,
right? Any industry for sure.
Or if you want to be in the mortgage lending business or something else too, that you get some training, you hang out with people that are successful doing it, and a lot of people who become realtors just kind of jump into it. And they know a couple people, so they can sell a couple houses to some people they know, and beyond that, they don't really learn the business because it is a business.
Hands-on part of it, yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of work, and it can be very, very rewarding and very, very frustrating. So we'll talk about that in the second part of our show today in the first hour. Second part of the first hour, 9:30, somewhere in there.
You lost me at Tesla.
I lost you at hi. This is Jeff. I'm out of here. So. A couple little fun things we'll cover this morning. Did you see? Hey, Chris, it looks like you will be getting a raise, though. Did you notice that? So that's good news for you. And let me see if I got the dates right for you, just so you can start planning. So next July, you're going to be making $9 an hour. And then the following January, 2016, you're going to be making $10 an hour.
So the way it keeps going, all I have to do is just keep waiting, right?
You got to live about
just hang in there, buddy.
430 years. You'll be making about $30,000 a year if you keep it up. So minimum wage signed in California for a minimum wage hike, which will put it, I think right now, the state of Washington and maybe one other state are a little higher than California. California will jump up there to be one of the highest paid. What are your thoughts? Should we keep increasing the minimum wage? Is that good? It's good if you're at $8, you're going to go to 10.
You know what's funny is before the show, we were talking about all these people with billions and billions of dollars, and now we're talking about
$10 an hour.
$9 and $10 an hour.
Is it good? That's the question. If you are a business owner, I'd love to hear from you today, 339-1140. Does it help your business, help you attract more people? Does it help you retain people? Does it keep you from hiring people? What does it do? Who makes minimum wage, first off? And if you increase that, my general gut reaction is it does not help overall. And the reason I say that is that certainly, I guess I don't fall into the argument that we're helping raise the living standards, because quite frankly, $8 an hour doesn't help someone live, and $10 an hour doesn't either. Let's be honest. If you want to help a family live, why don't we just pay everybody $30,000?
Right.
I mean, because that's so incrementally. I don't know that it helps overall, because if you now, if you're an employer, you want to bring in somebody and try them out. You got to bring them in at $9, now $10 an hour plus the matching withholding plus blah, 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 all the other stuff that goes along with it. So, are you tempted to say, okay, forget it? I'm not going to bring anybody new. I'll just work John. I'll give John an extra few hours and make him work a little more. And if you have a really good employee, I mean, someone who's really, really good at what they do, and they're excited about it, and they're trying to get better, are they staying at $8 an hour, or have you already moved them to $9 to $10 an hour so you don't lose them?
Yeah, I still go with the premise of, like you were saying. I mean, if you're making $8 or $9 an hour, that is your entry level. Okay, let's move on and let's go to 10 and 11 and 15. Not, how are you going to survive making minimum wage? You're not.
Yeah, so it's an interesting discussion, and I can probably argue both sides of it for you if you want. I just think in general it doesn't promote job growth. You don't get more jobs because of it, and you probably end up getting less of our teenage kids get hired because of it. And most of the people, and I could be wrong, but most of the people I think that are making minimum wage are generally not supporting a family. There are certainly a lot of people that are. I get that, and I don't think $10 an hour is going to change their style of life. But I think you cut out a lot of people who could be getting entry level jobs. So if you want to jump in on that today, 339-1140. In fact, we already got a few people lining up, so let's just jump in since we're on that topic. Let's see what Mike's up to in Lodi. Mike, what's happening down there in Lodi?
This whole thing with the minimum wage thing is kind of aggravating to me, because I was always taught when I was growing up, minimum wage job, there's a reason why it was minimum wage. It was supposed to be an impetus for you to go out and maybe get training for a better job. This is not the job you were going to hang on to for your entire life, but it seems to me like the only reason they're raising the minimum wage is to help those that I guess are not able to get higher paying jobs that they used to have.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Mike, and I some of this can tie into a lot of these things connect to each other. We'll put Mike on hold. Mike, that's a good comment. Chris, we'll get Mike's information there, and we'll send Mike some roundtable pizza by somebody who's probably making minimum wage. So, Chris, go ahead and get Mike's information on line one there. We'll get him some pizza. You start looking at we have a dramatically changing economy. Part of it is because there's a new game coming to town called affordable health care or Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. A lot of employers now are saying, hey, look, we're going to move a good portion of our employees back to part-time. And hey, by moving them back to part-time, we don't have to go through all the hoops and hurdles and the cost of health care. And so we'll move them back to part-time, and we'll keep bringing on maybe more people, but that are doing lesser hours. And maybe we'll bring them on at lesser pay if we have to do these things. So you're starting to see a lot of changes. And yeah, a lot of people before that would love and I mean love, to go get a job that was not minimum wage and have probably applied 55 times, haven't got a job yet.
Right.
And so they're stuck making minimum wage. Believe me, they don't want to. I mean, they'd love to do more. Let's see what Dan in Folsom has to say. Dan, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. What are your thoughts?
I was just thinking it also affects your workers' comp. Everything goes up, per the amount of dollar you pay your employees.
Okay, that's a good point. So there's a ripple effect. Not only is it just $1 to $2 an hour more, there's a percentage that goes on top of all that, right?
Yeah, it just keeps adding up. I run a local landscape company and stuff, and that's actually my biggest concern, is having my workers' comp even raised even higher.
Yeah. So how many employees do you run, either full time or part time?
I have 6 full-time guys, and then we run 4 to 6 part-time guys when we can, when we're doing construction stuff.
And so how many of them make minimum wage anyway?
Actually, none of them. We pay a little bit better because we like a higher quality of employee. But the other thing I'm worried about is they pushing up what the guys can expect to get made that are already making more money.
There you go. That's exactly where I was going.
Right.
So if you're making $12 an hour right now somewhere, and you look around and you say, okay, 18 months from now the minimum wage is 10. Well, it was 7, so it went up $2 or $3. Well, hell, I want to go up to 15.
Right.
I mean, everybody else, I want to be pushed up with it, and it's like it does have a ripple effect of expectation. A job has a certain value to it and a certain budget for it, and if you get beyond that, you have priced yourself out. I mean, McDonald's can't afford to pay each one of their employees behind the counter $25 an hour because we wouldn't show up at McDonald's to buy their burger.
For
and so,
$12.50.
and if all Dan's employees want to make $50,000 a year, and some of them are cutting grass, and some of them are doing some high tech, putting in all the irrigation, all this stuff too, the stuff that we couldn't do. Well, we're not going to pay Dan to have a guy for $50,000 a year come cut the grass or do those things. So Dan's out of business. So there's a value for each job, and so Dan, I appreciate your comment. I didn't even think about the workman's comp, but there's certainly a ripple effect too. We'll put Dan back on hold, Chris. We'll get his info and get him out something. We'll get one more in here real quick. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good. How you doing this morning?
Good. What's your thought?
Well, I think, obviously it's a double-edged sword. I mean, the companies are not going to gain anything by paying more money for their employees. The only thing we can hope as an economy is that the money that's being paid out is coming back to the small businesses so that they're getting a return. By selling their goods, there's more money for people to spend. So that's really all I'm hoping for, that it works like that.
Yeah, so I think Mark's comment is, if I got it right, so we gave Chris in there an extra $2 an hour. Well, Chris has got to do something with it because we know Chris doesn't save his money, so he goes out and spends his money. So it comes back around in the economy. The problem is that we gave Chris an extra $2 an hour. The government kept 50 cents of it, and so the taxes went up a little bit. So we don't get a full rebound of all that. So it is by way. It's a tax on business. I mean, I don't care how you put it. The question is,
yeah, that's a good point.
The question is where is the money best spent? I mean, I'm always for keeping money in private individuals' hands, and you could say, well, we're giving it to the employees in their hands too. But I don't know. I just think that it's an artificial tax, an artificial mandate on a business that can not help business grow. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. You know what? The Washington State economy in Seattle hasn't collapsed. They're doing fairly well up there, and they're paying a good amount of money. So it won't be the end of the world. And I just don't think it's going to be the panacea. Is going to make all of a sudden all these minimum wage workers are going to be driving Porsches and living the good life. It isn't going to change their life if they don't want to change it on their own. So that's my only comment. Mark, I'm going to put you on hold too. Thank you very much. Good comments today. We tapped into a little bit of a nerve there. All of our working people this morning. We have a tremendous amount of people listen to the show on Saturdays that are working.
Right. Exactly.
And a lot of them own their business, so they know what it's all about. And I think that Dan, our landscaper there, was right on it when he said, "Hey, I'm not even paying these people minimum wage, but damn well they're going to expect a $2 raise now."
Yeah, that's a huge point
because everybody's income is coming up. So. Good comments, and I appreciate that. If you want to jump in on that today, you can do that too. It doesn't look like our text machine is working. We usually get a bunch of texts on these comments. You can try us at 441140. I don't think that it's up and working here yet. We may have to reboot it. But we'll take your calls at 339-1140 if you want to do that as well. So enough about the minimum wage, unless you want to jump into that too. It is interesting that the newspaper says it's a loss for the business economy, the local business lobby, and quite frankly, I don't know how business could ever expect to win that argument in California. I mean, everything is run by the liberal side of the aisle, and I don't know how they would expect to win that argument. So I'm just not sure how it didn't get beyond $10 an hour. It's the only part that interests me. What are you looking at there?
I'm just looking at I'm hungry.
Oh, you're hungry?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a
So I was
quiz?
looking at our quiz question here. Since we're talking about minimum wage.
Yeah.
And you didn't bring donuts today.
I did not.
I'm on to the Burger King new French fries.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
I've seen the TV ads.
They're going after the lapsed users with new fries that promise fewer calories and less fat.
Okay.
You gonna buy them? They're 25 cents more than regular fries.
I'll try them.
Okay.
But here's before you get into that. So you're on the same wavelength that I am. So McDonald's is going to come out with veggie side orders. Now I don't give a damn how many McDonald's places offer veggies unless you dip them like at the fair where you put them in batter and put some chocolate on them. There ain't no kid going to drive through the drive-through and ask for veggies rather than French fries. It isn't going to happen, and the parents aren't going to ask for it. If the parents ask for it, they're not going to get eaten.
No.
So this is one of those things that everybody says, McDonald's, you got to stop doing what you're doing, and so we'll offer veggies. Well, who gives a damn?
Hey, Jeffrey, would you like to go through McDonald's drive-through, or do you want to go over to Trader Joe's?
You want a Happy Meal with the Happy Carrot in the side, or you want the? Nobody's going to do it. So McDonald's says, okay, we'll put veggies out, which they won't sell. And it gets the people off their back. You know what? If you don't want your kids to eat crap, don't drive them through the drive-thru.
Absolutely.
And if I go through the drive-thru McDonald's, I know damn well I'm not going to get veggies.
You want the good French fries.
That's right. I'm willing to try. I'm willing to experiment the Burger King fries. So what's your question there?
You do know that McDonald's has the best-selling fries.
Oh, I love McDonald's fries. Yeah,
absolutely. But we're on the Burger King. We're on the minimum wage and all these other good things. So Burger King is coming out chasing the lapsed users by promising fewer calories and less fat.
Okay.
What is and they're going to be 25 cents more than the regular French fries.
Okay.
What are they calling these French fries? What is the name of the French fry? So when you go and order, you don't ask for the low-fat French fry or the full-fat. You ask for the
339-1140. Oh, you know what? Let's get Richard in here real quick. I don't want to make him wait through the whole break. He's been patiently waiting. So we'll let that stew for a minute. John's French fry. Richard, how you doing? Richard, don't hide your feelings from me. Luke, I'm your father. Okay, we lost. We'll put that back on hold. I think we lost Richard. Maybe he was trying to look up the fry question. Chris, we'll go ahead and take a break. I don't know what happened to Richard there, and I don't know what happened to our text machine. But we got French fries, or you can have the McDonald's drive-thru veggies, which I'm sure will be hugely popular. I think if you dip those in batter, like a little.
Interesting enough, McCain Foods makes all the French fries for McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King.
But how come they're so much better at McDonald's? Because they boil them in a different stuff. That's what it is.
Secret ingredient.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us. There you go. I guess it worked. Is that you doing the test there? Yeah. Okay, it worked. 339-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. What is the name of the Burger King reduced fat fry? This is Talkin' Money. Will be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' Money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. Jeff Tarbell, John Fotorero, Bitter Chris, back in the studio with you. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 44-1140. If you do respond to one of these quiz questions, something has changed in the text machine. We used to get your phone number when you texted it so we could call you if you won. Now all we get is 916- and the first three digits. So if you're answering the question, you need to put the answer in and your phone number if you want us to call you back to win something. So the first correct answer, what was the to your Burger King fries that are 50% better for you, or what are they?
30% better.
30% better for you. They're almost healthy now.
Almost.
Okay. What are they going to be called? Low fat?
Satis fries.
Satis fries. So the 916-247- whatever the last your phone was the first answer correct on the Satis fries. I think it was that one. Was that? No, that's Chris's number. 916-317. I'm sorry. So if your phone number is 916-317 something, text us back and give us your your full phone number or your name and address, and we will send you out something to win there. We've been talking minimum wage. I think we got Richard back now. Richard, are you there?
I am here.
Richard, how you doing?
Good. I'm sorry I didn't hear all your previous conversations, but I happened to catch the remark about the state of Washington increased their minimum wage, and I guess things aren't so bad up there as a result of doing that. 5 years ago, I owned a business in Roseville that had 55 employees. Well, I was actually in 9 states where they worked. But I paid employment taxes, and we paid all the Social Security taxes for all 55 employees. And overnight, all those jobs went to India. This is a world economy, and people think that if you're going to increase the wages of people here in this country without increased productivity, that you're going to keep the jobs. It is not going to happen. And you push the minimum wage to $10 an hour, in my opinion, it means 2 things. You're pushing jobs overseas, and you're pushing people entering the workforce out of a job. It's as simple as that.
I totally agree with you, Richard. In fact, just during the break, I was looking at. I've been carrying this article around. Richard, I'm going to put you back on hold. That's very good. We'll get your information. This is out of the Wall Street Journal from August 26. Stagnant wages are crimping the economic growth. And I circled this section. Americans are increasingly competing with workers worldwide. We are on a long-term adjustment as China in particular, but all developing countries get their wages closer to ours, so they're starting to come up a little bit in their countries as well, which is good. But Richard is right. It was for a good portion of our businesses. If our cost of labor gets too high, we'll just find another place. We'll find another state. If we can't find another state, we'll find another country. If we can't find another country, we'll do it some other way. Now, somebody from India on the telephone cannot serve me breakfast, and there are some things that they cannot.
Right, or do your landscape, or build something, what have you.
There will be no virtual reality breakfast or any number of things. Or cutting your grass, those kind of things too. But there's certainly a lot of jobs that can be done somewhere else via telephone, via whatever. And we are pricing ourselves out here. You look at the average restaurant workers, average pay has dropped 2.7%, and manufacturing workers has dropped 3.1%. Employers right now do not have to offer you a raise. Why? Because they can move your butt out, and there's 5 guys or women standing right behind you that are willing to come in and take that job for whatever they're willing to pay. And as long as that's the case, we have a supply and demand, just like interest rates, just like housing prices, just like anything else. We got an oversupply of workers and a low demand of jobs. And so as long as that hangs out, the wages are going to stay down. You can artificially push them up here. The jobs will move somewhere else in those that can. So it's interesting concept, but we'll see how much it comes to fruition. The thing I noted this week was so now you're starting to see. Very interesting. You're starting to see really the true beginning of the healthcare rules come into play. And they're supposed to start, some of them were supposed to start October 1st, some are supposed to start January 1st. And there was a great article out of talking about how companies, they profile Walgreens, but that's just one of many companies. How companies are dealing with their average annual contributions to premiums for family coverage on health. And you look at the blue line, John. The blue line kind of barely moves up. That's the company's contribution. Look at the green line. That's the employee's contribution. Now, which one is going staggeringly high, the blue or the green?
The green.
The green. So companies have figured out you're going to put all these demands on us for health care. We're going to keep our health care costs in this window, in this little box here that we can afford to do it, because if we don't, we'll be out of business. So we'll find ways. We'll either cut you off entirely, we'll put you back to part-time, we'll move you to the healthcare exchange, and by the way, what's happened is the employer portion of the category is being managed better than the employee. The employee is being pushed to be, higher deductibles, lower coverage costs, and it's going to continue to change. And they're going to, and I did have that backwards, John. So the employer part was going up the most, and that was the point of the article, was that's going to stop. They're going to find a way to cap that off.
Make it more even.
Yep, and we're going to push more of the expense to the employee. Or we're just going to say you're on your own, and go out to the healthcare exchange and get your own coverage. And the system relies, and I'm not going to call myself an expert on the Obamacare. You had somebody who called, was it 2 weeks ago, was on here that talked about it. But the system relies on young, healthy males, quite frankly, getting in the system and paying their dues, because they're the least likely to get sick. They don't get pregnant, as far as I'm aware of. They don't, they're the least likely to get sick, so they're paying their contributions to pay for others. What they're afraid of is a young, healthy male is going to say, I ain't paying that. I'm not going to pay for any coverage if I got to pay it on my own, so I'll stay out. So all you'll get will be older or the unhealthy, the ones that can't get insurance somewhere else, and the thing will go dramatic, spin out dramatically. And I don't have any direct experience with like a VA hospital or some of those systems where that is your only option. And if you have that experience, please call me. Maybe it's been great, maybe it has not. But generally, you hear about very difficult times waiting. You have to wait months and months and months for your doctor. They decide whether you get coverage or not. Those managed healthcare costs are going to come to many, many people who have no other choice because they've been pushed off into the system. And I think that it's going to be the next 2 years are going to be very, very interesting because I think whoever runs for president next is either going to be a big winner or a big loser because of that. So you are either that system's going to go and everybody's going to love it, and then whoever said they were on board with that's going to be
and that's a huge question.
Going to ride that, or they're going to look around and say that the party that pushed that thing on me, I'm going to rebel against them for all reasons, and I can't tell you which way it's going to go, and I hope it works out great for everybody, but it's going to be a dramatic influence on some of our next elections and which direction we go. So interesting to see what your thoughts are there. Yeah, we got to take one more break. Chris is giving me the break in there as much as he's still pouting like a little girl. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. And John's got a quiz question there for you.
Yeah, so we're talking minimum wage. Now we're going to talk big bucks.
Big bucks.
Who is the largest shareholder of Microsoft? The top Microsoft shareholder. Whom is that? And I'll give you a hint. Paul Allen isn't even on the top 10 list.
He's not. He's already got all his money out, huh? He bought that big old boat.
No, he's probably got like a little teeny tiny percent that's worth a lot.
Still a lot. Just because you're not on the top 10 doesn't mean you're broke. But who's the number one shareholder in Microsoft? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140 if you know the answer to that too.
I'll give you a hint that they were buying up some homes here about 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Oh, so it could be an entity too.
Could be.
Okay.
Not necessarily an individual.
Okay. If you know the answer to that, give us a call, give us a text. We'll take a quick break. I got a couple text questions. We'll get to those as well. This is Talkin' Money. He's John Foderero. I'm Jeff Tarbell, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be
right
back.
Jack.
Talkin' money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. So, yeah, Microsoft is not owned majority by Bill Gates anymore, I'm guessing. Paul Allen wasn't on the list. I was thinking that maybe their retiring CEO, Mr. Ballmer, was on that list.
He is.
Okay. Where's he at?
So he has a teeny tiny percentage of 4%.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth about $10 billion.
Oh,
$10 billion for 4 little percent.
I could probably get by on $10 billion if you made me get by. But the number one investor in Microsoft is
5.5% of the shares outstanding.
Yeah.
Is BlackRock.
God, they got a lot of money.
Valued at $15 billion.
Wow. Plus, they have a few houses in Sacramento too.
A few houses in Sacramento.
There you go. And they must be doing something right. Hey, did you notice a couple things I thought were interesting this week? Chris, do you play much video games? EA Sports? What? I cannot hear you.
No.
You're not a video game
player?
player?
Lip service.
So don't be looking for NCAA football 15. There won't be one.
Saw that.
The EA Sports Electronic Arts out of Redwood City has settled with the NCAA, and part of that deal is they've had enough. They're not going to do any more college-related sports because they got sued, and they settled it, and that was it. So they won't see any more college athletes, which is really kind of a bummer.
Total bummer.
I mean, there's a few college athletes that were making some money. I mean, they should have made some money off of it, but if I'd love to have. Wouldn't you love to have your likeness on there on the game, and you're on it forever? You show your kids. Most of us got almost all those kids are not going to the pros, and to be on the game or something would be kind of fun. But anyway, no more. That'll be ddone.
No mas.
Maybe it'll just be all obscure numbers and people now. Little stickmen. I'll have John and I will draw the figures from now on. little stick boy runs down and catches the ball.
Watch this guy get hit. Bam!
The head came clean off. So anyway, we'll come back to some of that too. I asked Steve Evans to come join us today quickly, and I told him, don't drive all the way down here. We'll just give me a call and let's talk about what you guys have planned. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you calling us on a Saturday. So Steve is going to do. Why don't you tell us what you guys have got planned? We teased it a little bit in the beginning of the show for those wannabe realtors that are looking to get into the business, and how critically important it is that you associate yourself with someone in the industry who's successful, who can teach you, who can walk you through it, because it is a job and a career. It's not a part-time gig for it shouldn't
That's
be.
Exactly right.
So what do you guys have planned, Steve?
Well, when you say you guys, here the you guys are. Brent Gove of the Real Estate Report on KPK. He's been there for 8 years. And also Jeff Compton of Comstock Mortgage, as you very well know. We're going to team up. And myself, I've been a launch coach for the largest brokerage in Northern California, and I've been doing it exclusively for 3 years, helping brand new agents just got their license get their first 6 transactions. But in that process, I came up with a concept. It's called pre-license training. While people are studying to get their license and take their exam to get their license, why not train them in the essentials of real estate so when they get their license, they are fully equipped when they get their license to make sales, to have contacts. And it's been really incredible. So what's happened is Brent and I have teamed up together with Comstock, to provide that. Now it's called Accelerated Real Estate Academy. So it's kind of like a private school where exclusively we take less people, give them more focus, so they're more fully equipped that by the time they get their license, instead of doing a national average of a first-time license of 3 to 4 sales, they can do 12 plus in their first year. And it's not uncommon for them to make $100,000 in their first year if they apply themselves, but the application is what we're going to pour into them during that period. So I'm very excited, and we're going to have our first orientation at 2240 Douglas Boulevard, Suite 200, in a Comstock conference and training room at 6 o'clock, which is Tuesday, October 1st.
So this coming Tuesday. So, and this is a good example of, we were just talking about earlier about minimum wage jobs and companies not growing and relying on somebody else to determine your income and your ability to succeed. And this is what always appealed to me about the real estate industry. And I took the mortgage tact of it, but there is nobody who you show up on Monday and says, I'm going to your salary will be capped at X. You show up at 8, you leave at 5, you're going to make this amount of money regardless of what you do. This is an industry where your skill, your desire, your creativity, your hard work, and those things can be rewarded in multiples in this industry, because there's some, there are just some phenomenally successful people. And sure, there's a lot of people in real estate that just kind of do it as kind of a side job, and I guess you can decide where you want to fit in that category. But I've always thought it was just ridiculous for a real estate agency to hire a new licensee, plop him in a desk, and say, "Here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck with it. I hope you get a deal, and just don't get us sued." And just to be able to hang out with people that are just running at such a faster pace and follow those people and watch what they do and learn from them, I just think will just put you in light speed in terms of getting making yourself successful.
That is so true. And you know what? Let me tailgate on that. And a lot of it is because it's not that the brokerages that have that kind of philosophy and capability to support their new agents. It's just the fact that they don't have the ability. In other words, they're not large enough. They're probably out there in the field trying to do it themselves. Their intentions are great, but they just don't have what I call the resources. And because of that, we just infuse. And that's, I'm part of Keller Williams. I mean, we focus on training and coaching. And I've been training and coaching for the last 3 years. Brent's been successful in building teams, and he's done a tremendous amount of sales. So it's going to be a good partnership. And Comstock Mortgage is very strong out there in the lending market. People know you. They trust you. So, I mean, it's a marriage made in heaven, if you will. So the common thing we find is that there's a lot of people that have thought about get into real estate at some time, and for some reason, now it seems like we're getting a lot of interest, and more people are thinking now is the time, which is true, because really, real estate market is doing far better than it did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Absolutely. So, Steve, I know we've got to take a break here in a minute, but so the event is Tuesday night, the 6th. How does is there a cost for it?
That's the beauty. No, we invest first, okay, into the people that are there, so there's no cost. So if you're interested at all, come in. If you're even slightly interested, you need to do this for yourself, because this could be a defining moment in your life, in your career, which affects every aspect of your life, your family, your peace of mind. So please call 916-224-4352. Once again, 916-224-4352, and that's my direct line.
All right, Steve, appreciate it very much. I'll give that out one more time before the end of the show, and good luck on that on Tuesday. And I'll probably hang around the office to watch, see how you guys do. And John and I are both in that office, so we'll see people coming and going. Steve, I appreciate it very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Thank you, and hang out with us.
Very good. We'll do that.
All righty.
So there you go. If you're maybe thinking of a job change, or maybe just an additional job, a lot of the realtors that I know, started out having some sort of a job that they were doing, and then they learned the real estate business on the side, and then they got better at it, and then they switched over and dropped the job, and they kept doing it. So it's a good way to get in and either make some additional money or make it a career. So that's this Tuesday, October 1st. If you're interested in maybe becoming a realtor, 224-4352. That's in the 916 if you're listening out of the area. 916-224-4352.
Sounds like a great program.
No cost, and that's on Tuesday night in Roseville. So good luck with that if you're interested in that. I think we'll cover some of this next week. I did want to bring this up because this is a little, speaking of realtors, and hopefully the realtor community is seeing this as well. This came out of Yahoo Finance this week. Flood insurance rates. Did you catch that?
I did.
Flood insurance, the sole provider, which is the National Flood Insurance Program, their rate program ends October 1st, so coincidentally Tuesday. And they're going to be recategorizing a lot of areas and putting some new premiums in place for flood zones. Now, in many cases, you don't carry flood insurance, you don't care. And even if you do carry flood insurance, it probably won't change. What I don't know is some of the areas like Natomas that can be subject to some flooding, maybe the Pocket area, maybe West Sac. But they're talking in here about premiums in some cases, and I'm sure this is nationwide, obviously. Some cases the premium could be up to $20,000 a year.
I don't want to buy that house.
$20,000 a year for flood insurance. And remember, if you're financing a home and you're determined to be in a flood zone, you have to carry flood insurance.
Right.
Hell, that's $1,500. That's more than most people's house payment is in a year. So you talk about a complete degradation of the value of someone's home if you've got to buy that property and pay $20,000 a year. Now, I'm sure that's the extreme, but so take a policy that maybe was $1,000 a year and it becomes $4,000. I mean, that's still
huge.
A lot of people are not going to be able to afford that. And remember, for flood insurance, you got to qualify for the payment of the flood insurance like you would your hazard or your taxes and anything else too. So that could be fairly ugly. And I don't know how you find out.
I was gonna say, how's everybody find out?
I guess you go through your
FEMA.com.
Yeah, maybe, or most flood insurance is sold through your normal agent, even though it's not their company that sells it. So I would say, and what I don't know is, what if you already have flood insurance, you have to renew? Because I'm guessing you don't get the old rates.
You're ready to scratch a check for $1,000, and it comes to.
So if you're someone who's looking at a house that's in a flood zone, or if you're a realtor and have one listed, I probably get on the phone, like today or Monday, and figure out what does this mean. And if you're carrying flood insurance right now on your property, not by choice. Like for example, I carry flood insurance because there was a little creek that comes through the back, and damn near ended up in my living room. And that's a little different than a mandatory flood policy. So those are going to be. So I'm interested to see how that affects some of our local areas. But get on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it could be something you may need to save for quickly. That's it for us. Hang around. Hour 2 of 2 today is going to be our repeat show with Brian Wheat from Tesla.
Tesla will be playing tonight.
Oh, they're playing tonight.
Yes.
All right, perfect timing.
They're playing tonight at Thunder Valley Casino.
Yep. So what's your website again? John Fod?
John at johnfod.com or johnfod.com.
So you can if you want to see why John's on the radio, not on TV.
That's right.
That's a great example of a place to find him. You can find me at jefftarbell.com, and this show And all the past shows are on the Talkin' Money Facebook page. We'll see you next Saturday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be cool. We're praying for snow. We got to get some ski passes here, boy. We'll see you. Aloha.